Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe,
but a multiverse.
Where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next.
Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen, episode 476. This is our review of Legends of Tomorrow, the season 3 finale. What is it called? The Good, the Bad, and the Cuddly?
You got it,
right? Buddy. All right. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
All right. So I think to start off with, we've had somewhat vastly different experiences with Legends of Tomorrow this season.
Mm-hmm. And I haven't talked to you about most of this season, so I'm deeply interested in your recap of this. Go ahead.
No, I don't have a recap. I
don't know where you're premising us, but I'm enthralled. Continue.
Yeah. All right. Look. I haven't been the biggest fan. You thought it was better than past seasons. I hate Beebo.
Sure.
I hate Beebo. I feel like they've leaned more and more into Ray sort of being a dunce. I feel like he's a little too much of a dunce. Especially, like, I kind of popped back and looked at some stuff from Arrow. And yeah, he was still kind of goofy. You could see it there if you kind of put your mind into that place.
Yeah, he was always
but
that kind of charming, I'll call it, even on that show. And in all fairness, they didn't serious him up really, unless he was. I mean, like he was a great, back and forth with Felicity, for instance. And I mean, that's not the section of that show that we think is all the dark and brooding part of the show. It's they didn't really make him all too serious, unless he was talking about his ex-wife, or it was his ex-wife, right? They were married.
No.
Fiance?
No, it was his
Fiancé?
dead wife.
Well, that's an ex too, though, right? I suppose dead trumps it.
In a sense.
Suppose
yeah.
dead trumps it, sure.
I think.
I guess you should elevate the term. I grant you that.
Right. But, I felt like he was... I don't mind him being a silly character. I just feel like he was a smarter character somehow. And, like, every once in a while they have to try to, like... Oh, the science guy. They just call him stuff like that. Like, science dude and stuff over on Legends. And I'm like, this was like a genius. Like, a billionaire level genius. Yeah. And you guys have reduced him to just like, it's like they took all of the like little like ridiculous nuances of Felicity's character and threw it into like a man-child type of persona. And I just, I still have trouble with that. And then when you mix it with Nate and like, when he came on the show, he was like, it's an historian. And then, like, now he's just, like, referencing Raiders of the Lost Ark every week. And I'm like, what has happened to these characters? Mm-hmm. That's not to say I haven't enjoyed the show more this season. I am tired of Damien Dark, but I do like Nora Dark. And I was pleased with where they went in this episode and where they have been going. Like, I liked Damien, turning over a new leaf, so to speak, and sacrificing himself for his daughter. I dug that.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I liked Ray giving her the time stone. I like Ava. I kind of wanted to know more about her past before Rip bit the dust, but I'm not fully convinced that Rip is gone for good. I didn't see a body.
Same with Dark.
Yeah.
Like with Nora, when they did that last week, you saw like her head physically turn into something. I mean, she was gone. Dark, he's fighting it, and then later he's Malice, whatever.
Malice.
Yeah, Malice. That was a funny conversation, actually.
But I felt like the season overall took some pretty stupid turns. I did not like the Ghost Rat. I hated that. I hated the Elvis episode with a passion. I thought it not only was it beyond stupid, it was boring.
I wasn't so much bored by it at all. I mean, it was weird.
Oh man,
it was weird, but no more than Zombie Slave episode weird. I mean, it's the kind of weird where like that's not the lowest bar yet. I'm with you on Ghost Rat. And I for sure am with you on Beebo. But if you want to table Beebo, there's other strange feelings I'm having to cope with.
Oh, okay, I'll tell you this about Beebo.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled my eyes. I knew where they were going.
Sure. You knew from the title.
Yep.
We've known
And
for
I
weeks
saw it.
where this was probably damn going.
All right, a couple of bits, though.
Uh-huh.
I love Nate high.
Funny. Super funny.
Every time he gets high, I love when he woke up, he jumps and goes, "We beat him with the Care Bear stare."
Yes.
That made my day.
Yes, absolutely.
And then calling back to a statement he pondered, or one of them pondered, in a previous episode. Sure enough, they do it while they're creating this character, this avatar for them to fight with. Mm-hmm. I knew it was going to be Beebo, but it's totally a reference to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Oh, it's absolutely Ghostbusters. Absolutely Ghostbusters.
And it was stupid as hell, but I laughed my ass off in the finale and went, "You bastards, I hate you," but that was kind of fun.
I couldn't agree more. I was afraid we were going to argue about this, but damn it, I could not agree more. I'm not sure if I was like so shocked I was laughing, but I laughed my ass off at the entire Beebo scene. I don't want to ever see that fucking character again. If he's like on a shelf in the background somewhere, fine. I don't want ever to see him in the plot as a recognizable plot device or character ever again. I mean, what you did to me in that mid-season finale was unforgivable. And I'm still not ready. It's a little bit like Sarah with Dark. I'm still not ready to forgive that, and you don't deserve mercy. But I gotta admit though, watching that thing run around doing finishing moves and the nod to the Matrix and all that, I gotta admit, maybe I don't know. Maybe they were right the whole time. I don't know. It was funny. I laughed my ass off through that entire fight. I did. I don't even know how to. I can't square it. I really can't square it within my own person. I'm confused.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Me too.
But it is what it is. I laughed, and by the end, I was like, okay. Because first, I thought when Beebo came out, and it was finally like, yep, all right, my worst fears were true. Because even when it actually happened, I was still thinking, God, I kind of hope the team dies. I hope all of the legends die. And I don't know, man. It won me over. There's something about the insanity of that kind of scene. It did win me over. It was funny to watch. Doing stupid backflips and shit.
It was.
It was funny to watch. Sorry.
Still don't like
Still feel
Shaq as Jonah Hex, but oddly enough, I am rooting for him and Zari. I like Zari.
No, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, Zari's awesome.
I've heard a lot
she's great right now as the foil to the team's ridiculousness. Like,
yeah, dude, she has like an air of like what's her name? I'm not gonna remember her name now.
What character?
I know it.
Anything?
Freaking Maude. The show from the show Maude.
No.
She's on Golden Girls. You know the lady on Golden Girls,
Lord.
who played Maude. You know she was Archie's sister-in-law and All in the Family.
Wow.
And
I don't know.
That's what she reminds me of.
Yeah, that's an
Like,
old.
she's just like
deep and yellowed with the stains of time reference you made. But okay, sure. I'm willing to go with you.
B. Arthur. Is that right?
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know,
dude. She has I feel like she has her comedic timing.
When Nate's messing around, when Nate's still high, you're still high, aren't you? Great. Later, when they won't stop talking about Malice or Mollis or whatever, just like it doesn't matter. I'm enjoying her like finishing conversations, or like later Nate's saying something else and she just shut up. I don't know. It's just I'm amused by where I like where they're using her.
Like is that bacon? What are you, Jewish?
Yeah. Even the nice hat. Totally not what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like her. I've seen a lot of people who dislike her and don't know why she's there. I enjoy her so far.
I'm really enjoying her.
I'm hoping Amaya's gone.
I kind of
started this annoying trend of winking a lot.
Oh, I didn't notice that at all.
It's real subtle.
I really didn't notice that at all. That's the kind of thing where I didn't even notice it and it's bothering you. It may be a you thing, Dave.
Well, I was also really annoyed with her constantly questioning her, hers and Nate's relationship and her future.
Well, I know, but that's
in Zambezi and just
I give her that.
Get your ass to Zambezi and leave us alone.
I know, and it's I think the only reason you're annoyed by that is because you know damn well that's where the show has to take it. But they were trying to play with the idea that, time isn't cemented and they're fucking with time as they go. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they were because
oh yeah, definitely. I think they were messing with the idea of stakes that you weren't willing to. I don't know. You weren't willing to give them to mess with. I guess. I get where you're coming from, but inside of the story, it still makes sense. Like she has a lot of feelings for Nate, and obviously she's trying to it's a very human thing to kind of you have a feeling, you're in the present, you're feeling a thing that's relevant now, and you're trying to decide to do a long-term thing instead of the short-term gratification, and you make excuses. It's a thing.
Yeah. It's
basically how addiction happens. Give or take a lot of extenuating circumstances that I'm not going to be held responsible for. I feel like I should do a long speech after that. Anyway, I like where she is though. I like how they ended it. Mm-hmm. She made sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about Kawasa and Mari sharing the totem. I'm not sure how I feel about the Zambezi never getting destroyed. That's just a lot of stuff to reset. But whatever. I mean,
it is, and but they seem to have created. I say seem to have created a version of all this where that actually worked out. And to be fair, if you told me any of that in season 1 was a possibility, I would have told you, go climb a rope. But if you told me and at the end of the season, they use all the totems and fight a time demon that tries to rip history apart and actually defeat him, I'd have been like, I don't know. I guess there's gray area here. You can probably sneak something in the sidelines here. Yeah, you can probably save Zambezi. Whatever.
Yeah. Hey, one of the highlights of the season for me was it was stupid. I thought it was really dumb, but them actually popping over and getting John Noble to read Malice lines.
It did make me laugh. It really did.
It was real dumb.
It really did make me laugh, though. I don't know. I liked seeing him.
It was real dumb.
He was the highlight of Fringe, man. I mean, it was nice seeing him, and God, doesn't he have a glorious voice? Good Lord,
he does. I enjoyed Mick this season. I liked him in Nam. I liked
I liked them referencing Nam.
Yeah, I liked a lot of what happened between him and Citizen Cold.
Yeah.
I think he's taking, they keep doing good things with Mick, man.
Yeah.
Like when he's like, let's leave Sarah behind, whatever. She's full of malice now or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then Nate's like, how can you say that? And he's like, with my lips. I love that.
Mick had several great lines. I love what they've done with his character in general. Mm-hmm. The only exception is I think he should be the exception when they hand in their totems. He fits that fire totem.
He does.
I mean, I get it. You got to take him out of the timeline and put him somewhere protected, I guess. But, he fits that fire totem. And do you want to be the guy who goes to take that off him?
Right.
Because, I don't want to. I feels pretty protected.
Yeah. But hey, that's something, though.
What?
Am I crazy, or did Jax have nothing to do here in this episode, in the season finale?
Nothing to do that advanced what was happening. He was there. You got to see him. There were a couple of good bits. I love the thing where he pours him a giant shot of whiskey, basically takes the top off of it to make it a normal shot of whiskey, hands it to him. Congratulations, or Mazel Tov or whatever. I get it. That it was. I think the thing he did this episode was basically show up so that if we never see him again, which feels likely right now, he had a good ending. He didn't just walk off into the sunset longing for his lost friend. He found a family, and there is his world and everything. And fine.
Yeah,
it's not like I wanted I didn't want that character to be dead of a fentanyl overdose in 3 years. I wanted good things for him.
I didn't think of that, but now that you mentioned it,
you would have been disappointed, right?
Ending for Jax. I do like that ending for Jax.
Jax.
Sarah's just
never found his friend.
He did what? Yeah, it was rough. Oh man, should we go back and save him?
Nah, no.
Anachronism.
We definitely created that problem. Don't worry about it. Back to Mick though. He had wonderful lines. Just throughout the episode, as he often does. My two favorites are easily, seriously, are we making a baby? And then as he's putting it out of its misery, as he calls it, I think it's Nate that shouts, Cronin baby!
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That was dark, man.
It was pretty dark.
That was dark. I'm like, are they really
They
creating
gave
a
birth-
thing and just gonna destroy it?
No, seriously, they gave birth to like the concept art from the Stranger Things and shot it in the head. It was fantastic.
Oh man, that was messed up.
It was bad. But I seriously, I mean, I almost laughed until I hurt with like he's talking to Jax about, or oh no, it's not talking to Jax. Anyway, wherever he is, he's like mentioning the other people that could have theoretically been there. He's like stupid hawk flying chicken people. Oh, that killed me, man. That one actually that killed me.
Yeah, that was fun. That was good.
Really great. So Rip Hunter though, touching a little bit of a goodbye with Gideon. I felt like that was nice.
I felt nothing.
No, I liked
I
it.
don't believe it's over. I just don't believe anything. I'm just like, whatever.
Maybe not. And it's not like you saw a body, but they did show, in all fairness to TV tropes, they did show the spot where he was as though it was a corpse.
You're right.
And I did kind of like the balance of him saying goodbye to Gideon in a kind of very meaningful way. Like that, I don't know, it was touching. I liked it. And like he says goodbye to this digital person that's not at all, physical. And then he goes out into the physical world and says goodbye digitally to a bunch of people that he's been physically part of. Just kind of liked the balance there.
I don't believe that was intentional.
Oh, I'm not sure at all, but still liked how it came out.
I mean, it is kind of nice. And if I was feeling, a little more charitable, I would have given him the benefit of the doubt. But seeing as how Phil Klemmer doesn't even understand the character of Constantine.
I hope
as
he's
highlighted last week.
I know. I really hope he's doing his research. I feel like he probably is. We're right. Like last week when we talked about it, it was like, if you were Phil, you'd be like, he's blonde. He's blonde, right? I'm pretty sure he's blonde. I don't know. Yeah? No? Okay. Yeah. Anyway, but Rip, his exit, pretty good. Pretty good. If that's his exit, I was pretty happy with it. Good reason, good dialogue. I'm good.
I mean, I hope it's his exit. I want to know what happens with Ava. Like, what I want to know, like, more about all that. But I'm not sure there's a whole lot more to say about it. I mean, she's like the 13th of 12 picks.
Yeah,
that hasn't.
I think they did as much of that story as they can. Like
I don't know what the point of it is.
I'm not sure there's a point necessarily, but it does add some extra flavor to her character. Like the kind of extra, extraneous backstory that makes sense for some of the legends. That's fine.
Yeah, it's superfluous bullshit unless they actually do something with it.
Well, I felt like they did enough with it that at least she has some weird little backstory that's kind of a niche, and they've developed her as a character again. And clearly, we're back to treating her as a normal, functioning, fully sentient human being that has her own sense of self. Mm-hmm. And by the way, Ava and Sarah still super on board with that. So good thing that's back.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't know. Maybe they'll do something with it next year.
They might, but
that makes it worth it. Which apparently they're like heavily leaning into like supernatural stuff next year.
Yes. You know how pissed I would have been if I saw this finale without the news that they were already renewed? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I would have broken my TV, man.
It was one of those things where I'm like, wow, that demon/dragon head that Constantine just threw on the beach really looks fake as crap.
Yeah, it literally bounced.
But I'm still excited.
Yeah. Well, he drops it, and I was like, that's not Malice. Are we going to make that Malice? I'm confused. And as he explains, is like, it's not the only thing you let out love or whatever. And my internal thought was like, we're fighting demons next year, baby. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so down because I'm really hoping that has something to do with the backstory we lost on Constantine.
I hope so. But, in that episode, there was an episode recently where Bailey Tippin actually came back and reprised her role as Astra. Mm-hmm. Like, you can get me out of hell, blah, blah, blah. And then he, does the fake out, take my hand crap, and then he's like, no one escapes hell. No one, That may have just been that may have just been as much as we ever get.
No, because they've contradicted that. I mean, in Arrow at some point, there's the throwaway line of like, what about Constantine? He's in hell. No, literally. Apparently he can pop in and out. Somebody else must be able to as well.
That's a good point. He is Constantine, though.
He is Constantine, but come on. We know magic has consequences. We know he's probably going to have a friend in the present that has to take her place. much like he did to to his junkie friend. But I'm not willing to I'm just not willing to lose faith in that storyline or even that little girl yet. There's still plenty of room in this continuity, in this new version.
He gets out in the comics.
They're on a wave rider.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hoping Amaya stays gone. I'm done with her storyline.
I think they were. I mean, yeah. I think it's just done its thing.
I could deal with Helen of Troy sticking around though. She was awesome.
Oh, dude, badass.
Total badass. Yeah. I wonder if they'll ever actually get Jonathan Sheck on full time as Hex.
Nah.
You don't think so?
Nah. I don't know.
So you think they'll write Zari
maybe.
off by having her join them in the West or something?
I kind of think. Yeah. Like that was my first thought. Was I knew we were going to lose somebody at the end of the episode, and I kind of felt Zari might stay and just see where that goes. And then she had the algorithm. Maybe she could be like, it's okay. I'm going to take a computer. I know how to do it. I'll build a beacon and send it up if we break up. I don't know. That could have been done.
Yeah.
Just going to see how this goes. And she even mentioned early in the episode, like, well, I like the get up and everything. Like, she kind of liked the aesthetic of the Wild West and all. Mm-hmm. Pretty sure the bigotry would have caught up to her at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's their natural environment where they can really, flourish, but whatever. Oh, did you love him hanging a light on the whole Voltron thing?
Yes, I did. Absolutely, I did.
Thank you, Nate. And then even later, he's thinking Voltron. Was like, I will never not think. It was great.
Yeah.
I'll always call him Voltron. And then they kill him. So, oh, Voltron. It's great. It's great.
Okay, how do you feel about Wally being a part of the show?
I kind of love how meta it seems that in the show, and for me personally, I'm still trying to figure out. Okay, other than just making sure that you could afford to have a speedster on two different shows, but not two on the same show, and knowing that you had a compelling character that you needed to put somewhere. Why is he really here? And then he's sitting there the whole time being like around the circle, just like, oh, it's not a coincidence that I'm here. Awesome. I kind of liked it. I kind of liked that they were talking about it.
Well, I don't think it's just that they couldn't afford to put two speedsters on a show. I think it was more or less a thing of like, you don't really need to.
Well, I mean, you don't necessarily, but you have also. We just did a great episode where they used 3, and they were absolutely necessary.
And every once in a while, you need that many.
Yeah, but you don't need them
most
every
episodes.
Fine, I'm okay with that.
If you're like, yeah.
But we know the behind-the-scenes stuff was
a
lot of we really couldn't afford that, turns out.
Well, just because Legends has an allotment for a certain amount of money, it's probably easier to make a speedster than it is Firestorm. Especially if you consider especially if you consider how many episodes would just be wrapped up way easier if you just used Firestorm with the powers that he actually has.
Yeah.
Even the powers that they've showcased on the show, you had to have Martin's in the sick bay, and here's a reason they can't do it.
Oh, I know. It would. I feel like it was just a lot to try
hold the show back
to make sense of. I get that. Whereas Wally's just a more organic addition. Love his hair now, by the way. Mm-hmm. I'm just waiting for whatever Mick has nickname wise stored up for him. But I don't know, man. It overall, this season, first part of this season, kind of before Beebo. I thought it was about where I left it last year. Just kind of middling, kind of fun, kind of not sometimes. It was just it hit or miss for me. You get to Beebo, and I was ready to throw things. I mean, my blood pressure went up hard.
Yeah.
And then as I've watched, there were some missteps in just certain episodes where I didn't really care that much. Or maybe it was a little weird, or maybe it was a little silly or something. It was a little off mark here and there. But I feel like they've been leaning into certain things in a way that I'm finally starting to appreciate it, or they've finally gotten better at it. I'm not sure which one. Mm-hmm. I want to say probably a mixture, because that's what I normally assume about anything where I can't decide. And they've gotten to the point now where even the beach conversation. Constantine walks up with a giant dragon head, drops it on the beach in front of them, and they're like, yeah, it was Sarah's fault. No one gets up all astonished about a giant demon head. Yep. They just all comedically yeah, it's here. And even the bit with Constantine showing up, it's clearly Ray's been day drinking. Don't hold them again. This is at this point a comedy with a bunch of weird stuff happening in the background. Mm-hmm. And every now and then a built-in kind of decent fills scene. And I'm okay with that. Because I gotta admit, it is making me laugh. It has always kind of made me laugh, but I felt like they were trying to make a show that fit in more with Flash and Arrow, and those are still two different aesthetics, but they were Like, I feel like now they've leaned into like, no, we're a funny show with some good moments, and let's do this. And I can get behind that.
It's just such a far cry from what I wanted, which is not the show's fault, but like what is the show's and the network's fault a little bit is like I was sold a bill of goods.
You were.
You
were.
I heard Rip Hunter saying I've seen, whatever, Men of Steel die and Dark Knight's fall.
I know. You were sold a show that looked like a Riverdale trailer. I get that. I get that. But
I'm not sure that was what I got sold either, but
that's what it feels like to me remembering it.
I mean, I was sold that, but it was called Riverdale, and I enjoy it for the ridiculousness that it is every week.
I know. But again, like I feel like they had an idea about how the show was going to go, and for me, it feels like it's taken 2.5 seasons for them to get there. But I feel like they're there. If this is where they keep going, I'm digging this show. Like I'm excited about season 4.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it just took that long for me to get my head around it. I don't know.
No, well, I mean, look, Constantine really did help the show out, I feel like the few episodes he was on this season, like, really made me like the show a lot more.
Sure.
The absence of Jax and Stein really helped the show a lot.
Yeah, it's not as clunky without them there.
It's not as clunky. I don't have to hear the exposition about how they have the psychic connection anymore.
Every 5 seconds, I get that. And also, as you pointed out, you don't have to have any exposition about why they can't just turn into Firestorm and fix everything immediately.
Or, any lack of exposition about how the hell Jax knows how to work an engine like this.
I mean, I get that, yeah. I get that. But I also feel like they've made a lot of adjustments that have really worked.
I mean, my brother-in-law he works on plane engines, and he still has to go take his car to get an oil change.
That's actually, I know. That's part of my fear of flying. Seriously.
Like they're not the same.
I know. I know. That really is part. It keys in heavily to my fear of flying, though. Is like I know deep in my heart that this is just an engine, and there are people working on it that might have a hangover. And I understand the statistics just fine, but I'm still super scared while I'm in the air, and I'm trusting someone who might or might not have had full attention when he was tightening a nut.
All right. Was there anything else, do you think, for the Legends?
No. The only criticism I had within the episode, because like without the episode, or well, I'm using that correctly, just bear with me. I thought they incorporated a lot of what this show's done so far into this exact episode, and I thought they did it pretty well. A lot of stuff kind of tied in a way that I appreciated. But within the episode, I just thought they should have been way more pissed at Ray. Like for somewhere in the middle, I was like, this should be a way more emotional situation. He just punched Nate in the nose.
Yes and no. It's Legends, man.
I know.
Each one of them does something like this in every episode. So
I know, and that's the kind of thing where like, that's the thing.
Sarah goes on a date and they crash the ship. Like
I know.
What's a nose punch among friends?
And it's not like Ray didn't have a decent enough plan that actually did kind of work.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it just, he like assaults a team member and steals a ship with the only time drive they still have. And everyone's like, well, let's get drunk in the West and figure this out. And then when they bring it back up, it's like, what happened to Ray? You don't even want to know. It seemed a little underplayed for what was, to me, a giant gesture. But that kind of thing, like, I feel like they have the characters in the right place and they have the show in the right place where, like, that's the kind of thing that, yeah, it's nitpicky, but, well, actually, that's my point, is it feels a little nitpicky. Enjoyed it otherwise. But the whole time, you know that middle ground where, like, yeah, I would have probably, I guess I would have hoped that was done differently, but, shit, I liked it, whatever. That middle ground, that's where I was. And I feel like that middle ground where, like, some character, for some reason, is just out of place that week, that's the kind of thing that all shows have trouble with sometimes. And I just think they've done a really good job of setting themselves up where they're doing that less and less and less.
Yeah. Well, I like Wally on the show. I think he's a good addition to the Legends show. I think he's a better character than Jax. And Martin. And actually, probably Zari, too. But still.
I don't know. Still digging Zari. She's got a lot of room there.
I do like Zari.
Play there.
Yeah.
And Mick finally got to go to Aruba, even though he's interrupted by a magician that drops a demon head on the sand in front of him. Whatever. But
he didn't seem too perturbed.
He did not. I don't think he doesn't finish his drink. I think he basically at the end of that episode says, like, trench coat, we'll deal with that next week. You know we're on vacation, right? And that's just it. That's all. And I feel like in that scene, the rest of them go like, yeah, he's got a point. John, take a chair. And I'm okay with that.
I like the bit where like Zari, like last week or so, when Zari was trying to train him with the fire totem, and she was like, "You said we were going to start training after lunch. You've had 4."
Right.
It's like the dude just eats all day.
I know. I'm like constantly jealous of the metabolism they have fictionally given to this man.
Oh yeah.
Like, good Lord, I'd love to have 2 hoagies for lunch.
Oh, my favorite thing about this season of Legends is that Mick is a writer and actually pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'd kind of like to see that go somewhere where they go somewhere and this would be a great for me is like wherever they show up in the future, just a few years, whatever. And they have like, he corrals them out of somewhere because he notices himself at a booth doing a book signing and like has to get them out of there before they see what's happening.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
That's kind of a scene I've been looking forward to since they mentioned that idea.
Oh, that's fantastic. I dig that, man. Almost as probably more actually than I liked Wally just going to grab him. He's just like in his overcoat and like gloves.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, who dressed me? Mick sleeps in the nude.
By the way,
yeah,
Mick
we knew
sleeps
that.
in the nude. Oh yeah. And that was the other part. Was like, yeah, we know. Dude, you could have told me. I can run across the room at light speed with my hand over my eye.
My sincere hope for this is that we can explore Wally becoming the true fastest man alive within the confines of Legends on a more cosmic time jumping level, while also exploring Barry over on the Flash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this way, if they do it right, we can actually get both of those things.
Oh yeah, I mean there will be another crossover. That's a thing that we all know we're demanding, and we all know CW is going to give us.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to see it kind of develop a little bit to the point that we actually do get to see those two kind of come together, and it's like, damn, you got fast, you too,
Yeah.
Here, I learned some new tricks.
Like,
I would love to see him swapping tricks in the middle of a fight. Like, oh, have I shown you this? Blah, blah, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I would like to see, a fully red costume or like a red and silver costume, like kind of grab some of the rebirth costuming for Wally. He doesn't need to be Kid Flash here. He can just be the Flash.
Yeah. There's a lot to look forward to here, man. I'm way more excited than I've ever been when we recapped a season of this show.
Yeah, it was dumb, but had some real highlights.
The right kind of dumb.
Yeah. I laughed way too hard at Constantine trying to find that chicken. Like when he's running around chasing the chicken,
I know. And I saw that and thought, this is actually a scene I might have seen on NBC.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not super pissed about this. I could have seen that. Because they would. They did a joke every now and then, even on his super serious kind of show. I
liked how he wrapped that scene up where he's just like, we'll have to pick this up tomorrow. Don't worry. We'll get your son married.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've missed John deeply.
Yeah. I know. It's good. It'll be good to have him back. I almost hope they bring Dark back just because he was hilarious. He was.
Don't
he was
call
hilarious.
me love. I'm sorry. Pet.
Yeah. But just this episode alone, he's on the ship. Is that why you're hiding Damien Dark on the ship? Hey, Nate. Don't wave.
I love the bit where he was torturing with the cattle prod. He's like, okay, you're going to kill me anyway. Can we not have the cattle prod? He's like, can we make this a safe space?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Safe space.
Yeah. And they agree to it. I was like, oh God, they're going to go that was the moment where it was like, they're really going to go there with Damien. And I love it. And even the same scene I'm talking about with Nate and all them, he's like, there's a good explanation for this. Nate's like, okay, I'm listening. And then Dark leans in. Me too. Really liked it, man. Damien was funny on the way out, if that was the way out.
Yeah. That don't wave bit was great.
Don't wave. Don't wave. I really laughed, man. I laughed my ass off that.
Yep.
It's nice. Like, you can pull that off too, because like Damien is such a powerful character that he can afford to just be like goofy, and you still want to take him very seriously.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, he's goofy, but he's also deeply psychotic.
Yes.
So
Yes.
just, I mean, he almost drains the life out of you one minute, and this next minute, hey Nate.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
great.
Hey bud.
It's just
What's up?
fantastic. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. If that's how they kept him, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him back again. I really wouldn't at all.
That's fair. All right, I think we're gonna wrap it up here on our Legends of Tomorrow review, and we're gonna be coming back with some current events, a little bit of news, and
Whatever passes for
if you
news
enjoyed this
these days.
Right. If you enjoyed this episode of DC on Screen, or any episode, and you'd like to leave us some positive feedback, iTunes is probably the best place to go for that. It really does help us get seen by more people.
It's iTunes, man.
It's a good thing. You can find every episode for free at dconscreen.com. We talk to folks over on Twitter at DC on Screen, Facebook on the DC on Screen Facebook page or Facebook group. We've got both, and we're on Instagram for some reason or another.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and until next time, keep some DC on your screen. Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52, Week 4. It was performed by me, David C. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Future Elevators, can be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Effie Oppelders of the fantastic podcast Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud. It can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We are proudly in partnership with TV Time, the TV show calendar and social media site that lets you keep track of what you're watching, what your friends are watching, and where you all left off. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, an improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.